All right, let's begin with the big story that we're covering today. There is a reason that the BJP is called an election machine. Very often it's referred to as a party which is always thinking about elections and constantly in poll mode. One that leaves nothing to chance. Well, a two-day national executive meet of the BJP that ended today tells us why this party has the image of one that is laser-focused on elections. 400 days before the next Lok Sabha polls, the prep has already begun. Few important takeaways from the two-day national executive meet which ended today. JP Nadda will remain BJP president till June 2024. The target set is a fierce one to surpass their 2019 tally. And let's go into that strategy. The BJP strategy is to target all 9 state polls which will take place this year. They hope to win all of them. They want to strengthen their booth-level organization. In fact, 72,000 booths and 160 Lok Sabha constituencies have been identified as weak. A special focus will be on the 4 states going in for elections in the first half of 2023. And party presence in the border areas will also be strengthened. Now, what is working for the BJP? What's the strength and the weakness factors as far as the party is concerned? Now, we all know that they've won massively in 2019. After 2014, they want to surpass even the 2019 tally. Prime Minister Modi remains their biggest strength. The magic remains intact. He is their most popular leader. They've won 4 out of 7 assembly polls in 2022 and have a strong organizational strength which continues. But let's look at the challenges they face. Some media reports have quoted Prime Minister Modi in his speech during the session saying that we don't take the opposition too lightly. Another big concern may be for them a recession. If there is a global recession, if it hits economy in India, will it sour the mood? Rising prices could also be a problem as far as voters are concerned. And after 2 terms, who else do the voters have left to blame except the party in power? Let's first listen in to some of the sound bites which emerged after today's meeting.
नड्डा जी के योगदान को पार्टी आज इसकी अनुमोदना भी करती है और उसको स्वीकारते हुए इनके कार्यकाल को जून 2024 तक बढ़ाती है कि मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में, नड्डा जी के संगठनात्मक नेतृत्व में 19 से भी ज्यादा बड़े बहुमत के साथ भारतीय जनता पार्टी चुन कर आएगी और मोदी जी फिर से इस देश के प्रधानमंत्री बनकर इस देश का नेतृत्व करेंगे। इसका हम सबको भरोसा है। मैं समग्र पार्टी की ओर से श्रीमान नड्डा जी को हृदय पूर्वक बहुत बहुत बधाई और शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। हम सबकी अनंत शुभकामनाएं श्री नड्डा जी के साथ है।
इस बैठक का समापन आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के बहुत ही प्रेरक उद्बोधन से हुआ और मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी का उद्बोधन ये प्रेरक भी था, दिशा दर्शक भी था और भविष्य की राह दिखाने वाला था। सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो कही वो ये थी कि भारत के जीवन का सर्वोत्तम काल आ रहा है, हम सामने देख रहे हैं। ऐसे समय हम लोग मेहनत में पीछे न रहे।
The two-day national executive of BJP concluded today with the concluding address of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, top-notch leaders of the BJP, including BJP President JP Nadda, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and other senior leaders, and also the chief ministers of all BJP-ruled state and their president were present in this particular meeting. Now, the political resolution was also passed in this national executive meeting, which talked about the negative campaign that the opposition is resorting to against Prime Minister Narendra Modi, be it in terms of Pegasus, be it in terms of Rafale or demonetization. The economic resolution also talked about India's fight against COVID and the growth in economy despite the COVID scare in past 2 to 3 years. Now, one more important aspect that came out of this particular national executive was JP Nadda given extension as the BJP president till June 2024. Now, this is a major news coming out from the national executive, given the fact that how JP Nadda's tenure was to end this month, but now he has been given extension till June 2024, and the Lok Sabha elections will be fought by the BJP under the presidentship of JP Nadda. The Prime Minister, in his concluding address, focused on how exactly the BJP leaders will have to go on the ground, and they will have to reach out to people, because we know that 2024 elections are just around the corner. And in this national executive meeting, the assembly elections, 9 state assembly elections in 2023 and the Lok Sabha elections were thoroughly discussed. And the BJP believes that they need to win each and every election, and that all was being discussed in this national executive meeting of the BJP.
All right, Charu, Pragya of the BJP with me on the show. Shekhar Iyer, senior journalist, joining us. Arshpreet Khadial of the Congress speaking with us, as is Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst. We're talking about how the BJP is positioning itself 400 days in advance. Charu, Pragya, is the BJP going to focus only on elections? Government is going to focus only on 2024 for the next 400 days instead of governance? Is the focus shifting to winning the next election?
Tamanna, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
The government is focusing on governance, and the political party is doing what it does best. And the devil is in the details. I think it is something to be applauded, something to be very proud of, that here is a party which plans everything. We have review meetings which not just analyze our losses, we analyze our wins, we try and better ourselves, we make sure that we come together at regular intervals so we can keep our ear to the ground. We listen to what the people of India say. We try and translate that into the kind of work our political party does. I've always said that BJP's politics is more of socio-politics. It is not political entirely. We focus more on social issues, and that has been the reason for our thumping victory repeatedly. Prime Minister Modi, of course, as you rightly said, is looked upon as a shining beacon of light. It's his vision which guides BJP. But apart from that, our organization has grown from strength to strength. And the only way to do this
Ms. Pragya, I've given you the customary 30-40 seconds to, sing praises for your party in glowing terms, which you have a right to as a spokesperson. But then now we must answer some questions as well on the show for our viewers.
Of course.
Which is you are going into an election. You are going into an election in the middle of a global recession. Your prep is in the middle of a global recession. The Indian economy is going to face headwinds and concerns and challenges as well. Inflation is going to continue to be an issue. Jobs and unemployment is going to continue to be an issue. I didn't hear anything about that coming out of this two-day meet. It was all about, let's get a Gujarat-like performance from 2024 as well. Let's focus on this 160 constituencies and these 72,000 polling booths. And yes, all students of politics will appreciate the precision with which the BJP goes after every election. But is the voter of this country getting their due and their attention is a very serious question I must ask you this evening, Ms. Pragya.
Tamanna, the only reason why the voter of this country, or any country actually, supports any political party is when they know they will deliver. In our case, when they support us repeatedly, it is because we have delivered. It's not just promises made, it's results given. It is a report card which is presented to the people, and that's why governments are repeated, as simple as that. And when you say that we are going into election, are you saying that the Bharatiya Janata Party is the only political party which is contesting an election? Are you already negating all other political parties and saying they're not even trying to campaign and win an election?
I'm going to ask
2024, even we've got 9 elections.
Arshpreet Khadial is waiting to answer that question.
Have negated all of them.
No, I've not negated anybody. I mean, in your meeting, reportedly, the Prime Minister said we're not taking the opposition lightly, which no ruling party, frankly, should. Arshpreet Khadial, But that question has been lobbed by Charu Pragya itself. ये लोग अभी से ही तैयारी कर रहे हैं, आप लोग क्या कर रहे हो? What's the plan?
See, the very reason as to why the Bharatiya Janata Party is having to start with the preparations already is because they are perturbed with the Bharat Jodo Yatra. With the success of the Bharat Jodo Yatra and the amount of number of people that it has connected with, they are very much disturbed with the recent results that the Bharatiya Janata Party has just seen. They had all three. They had Himachal, they had Gujarat, they had the MCD, and they are just left with one now. Number two, Mr. Modi at this meeting said to his own
One
leaders,
minute, Ashwit, why would they be disturbed with Gujarat?
they had three. Himachal, MCD and Gujarat, they are just left with one. That is Gujarat. That is why they're disturbed.
Okay.
Number two, Mr. Modi to his own leaders said, go and increase your outreach, meet with those people. Never would you ever see him say, go and do work, go and do development, beget welfare, increase the number of educational institutions, increase the number of medical institutions, empower the people. Never would he ever say that, because it's not really the fault of Mr. Modi. And Charu would understand that, because he's not just the Prime Minister, but also the prime campaigner who is 24/7 on a campaign mode. Therefore, it's not really his fault. Number five, the Bharatiya Janata Party has returned from 2 seats and they have won twice at the Lok Sabha elections. So therefore, we are at a way, way better position to return. There shouldn't be any doubts about that. And number five, Mr. Nadda.
One minute. Before you get to number 5, 1 minute. You have to dial back on the logic on the last sentence. You are in a way better position to return to power in 2024.
Yes.
Why? Should we put up all Lok Sabha 2019 and before that 2014? Okay, let's start from 2009, 2014, 2019. Congress vote share and seat share has been nosediving. How are you in a better position to return?
Exactly. See, if a party like the Bharatiya Janata Party that has made these massive promises like, 15 lakh would be given, not even given 15 rupees, 2 crore jobs a year, not even given 2 jobs, double, the farmer's income, not even, let alone doubled, they even decreased it and decreased the prices of diesel, petrol. They have also skyrocketed.
Can I refute that with numbers, Tamanna?
Please, Charu, if you speak in my time, I'd have to speak in yours. Let's not do that. So therefore, a party like this has returned from 2 seats. And then there is a party like the Congress party, that is known for its work, that is known for its ideology. We can very well make a comeback, and a way bigger and a better one that the Bharatiya Janata Party has. Now, Mr. Nadda's tenure has been extended. This very party that used to question our internal process, our electoral process, you're choosing a president, electing and this and that. Have they asked this question to themselves? Was Mr. Nadda even elected in the first place?
We'll come to the Nadda question. We'll come to the Nadda question. But no.
Just the last point.
Ashpreet, there is a whole debate. You don't have to say everything in your first answer. It's not like those, essays in school. Sara jawab ek saath dena hai. No, 1 minute. 1 minute. Let's make this like multiple choice question. Short and sweet and to the point. Charu Pragya wants to refute some statements you've made.
Well, at least you're learning from the best, Ashpreet.
Of course, for you.
Yeah. Very, very quickly now, because Ashpreet is talking about deliverance, let me tell him that we don't just set targets, we deliver on them. So whether it is increasing the grid of roads in our country, whether it is increasing airport access, increasing number of trains, educational institutions, hospitals, I can go on and tell you a target is set and then it is achieved, Ashpreet, but that is something you will not know because you belong to the Congress party. You can go back and check the development process under the UPA era, how many new colleges were set up, and compare it to just the last 8 years of the NDA regime. Point 1. Point number 2, because you also mentioned Nadda ji. Can I continue or should we go to the other 2 panelists first? Tamanna,
yes,
I've got a lot to tell Ashpreet. He's also been praising Rahul Gandhi ji. He's saying that everybody is rattled with the Bharat Jodo Yatra. I've seen the result of Bharat Jodo Yatra. Every constituency you cross, you lose. Every constituency you cross, you lose.
No, but where have you seen the result?
What is it?
Where have you seen the result? I don't think the Bharat Jodo Yatra can be, on what parameter are you saying fail or not? Maybe in 2024 you can say wherever he went, it didn't work. You don't have the data yet.
Yeah.
We don't have the data yet to call it a success or failure.
No.
Okay, Tehseen Poonawala wants to come in. 1 minute. Tehseen wants to come in.
I'll tell you why I'm saying what I'm saying. There is a new avatar of RG which is created every day. That avatar will fall flat and then another one is created. That's been the achievement of Bharat Jodo
But
Yatra.
they have a right to, Charu Pragya. You have your 2-day meet. They have their tweets. It's okay. Everyone has the right to, right? You're the one who said, why should, we be the only party who's preparing is nobody else preparing. So they're doing Bharat Jodo Yatra. Okay, so they have a right to do Bharat Jodo Yatra. Tehseen Poonawala, serious question. How are they stacked? And the fact that, the prep has already begun. The message has gone very clearly from Prime Minister Modi at this meeting that you have to now get into election mode. 400 days are left. Reach out. 160 constituencies, 72,000 booths are identified. There seems to be a clinical precision in going ahead with this. How do you look at that when you compare with other opposition parties? The Congress right now trying to figure out who will turn up at the grand finale for the Bharat Jodo Yatra in terms of other opposition parties.
Good evening, Tamanna. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And, I agree with what you said, the precision with which the BJP operates, especially the most honorable PM. PM, by the way, does not mean Prime Minister. It means Prachar Mantri. Sara samay prachar hi karte rehte. Kaas itne precision, with this precision, he would have put his ears on the ground, and the most honorable Prime Minister would have realized that in 4 hours when you do a lockdown, there are there were hundreds of people who were martyred and thousands of people who were displaced. Only if the most honorable Prime Minister would have put his ears on the ground, not done man ki baat and done some calm ki baat, he would have realized, despite the clean chit from the most honorable Supreme Court on demonetization, the fact was that demonetization was a disaster that not only led to 130 odd people being martyred, it also led to the economy being crippled. And every 2 days, the RBI and the government had to keep changing the goalposts. I wish the most honorable Prime Minister was amongst the masses of the citizens of India. So he would have known that when he said that 70 saal mein kuch nahi hua, and then the BJP spokesperson, the very erudite and competent Charu Pragya says, because we've done work, we've come back into power. Therefore, 50 years, if Congress kept coming back to power, the Congress must have done some work. Otherwise, why would the Congress come to power? Maybe that was a wiser generation of our parents and our grandparents that knew what to do and did not get carried away with
Are you
stories.
saying the voters right now are dumb? Are you saying voters right now are not wise?
No,
they're dumb?
I am saying, no, I am on the contrary going to castigate the Congress despite being a Congress supporter. Look, what I'm going to tell the Congress, and I say this from my heart, look, I want the BJP to lose. I do want it to lose. I'm politically opposed to the BJP. But look at, just visualize 2 restaurants, okay? The BJP restaurant and a Congress restaurant. So the BJP has an array of buffets. It has a buffet. You may like it or you dislike it. Prime Minister Modi is the head chef. He's serving you the G20. You have Nirmala Sitharaman serving you the economy. You can disagree, it's in a bad shape, it's a bad dish. You have Amit Shah ji serving you the Ram Mandir. You have Jai Shankar serving you the foreign affairs. You have something to give the people. What the Congress is doing is only saying, look, the BJP's restaurant is bad. Fine, I understand. But I am hungry, I want to eat. What are you serving me? So I think what the Congress will now need to do, and it needs to take this very seriously, is get out of, okay, we understand that the BJP is bad. What is it that you're giving as an alternative whereby the fence sitters come to you? And that has to be a very serious introspection by the Congress and a very serious articulation. We cannot keep saying everything and everyone is against us. The fact is, what can we offer to the people? How can we communicate it articulately? How can we present a front to the people that they choose us? That I think the Congress will need to focus on, because the BJP, like you rightly said, Tamanna, is very precise in what it wants to serve the people. It's serving them everything that they want. And the Congress will need to have an alternative to that.
Okay, let me get Shekhar Iyer and his, take on the start, in a sense, to election season 400 days in advance before I get Arshpreet to respond to Tehseen's comments. Shekhar Iyer, what struck me was also Amit Shah talking about beating the 2019 tally. Now, this is important because the 2019 tally was stupendous. Is that just to, get everyone going in the party cadre? Or is there like a precise math behind that as well? And what does that mean for politics in this country and for opposition politics in this country?
Well, Tamanna, thank you. Well, you are right. There are 2 reasons why such targets are set. One is to convey the message, if a party is coming a 3rd term, then it is supposed to have got approval or an endorsement from the voters as to the performance of the two previous era. That is why in Gujarat, when they won the 7th term, similarly a higher target was set. They set about 150. So the whole idea is not only for the cadre, but also to convey the message that they are going to the people on the basis of the performance of this government, the leadership of Prime Minister, and at the same time, looking forward to accomplish other unfinished agenda. See, today, what comes out of the meeting is what we have been briefed, but I am sure in the internal meetings, they worked on specific strategies, which is, the Prime Minister particularly feels the kind of initiative his government undertook, the kind of challenges it faced, those things have not yet been fully conveyed to the voters. In fact, the message I understand and I gather is he wants more of the BJP leaders to go out, to convey, feed, tell the people about these flagship programs, get the feedback as to the implementation of programs like the housing scheme, drinking water scheme, electricity scheme, several infrastructure projects, what is happening, what is not happening, what are the drawbacks. And this is at a level, this is for the 2024. But at the moment, the immediate challenges are the assembly elections. Karnataka and Tripura, Meghalaya, Nagaland in the first early part of 2023. And the later part of 23 is even bigger challenge. If you ask me, Congress has to win only one election to get the narrative right. They have to win Karnataka. The rest will be taken care. But for the BJP, they can't afford to lose a single election. And this has been so Tamanna, not just this time. It has been there since 2014. Every time they have lost an election, it has been very difficult to get back the old narrative. That is why this particular national executive is actually a culmination of series of meetings that have taken place. You heard about 144 constituencies being identified where they had not, they had lost or they had lost by very narrow margin. And in addition to that, I am told that figure could go up to 160, which they find on the ground things are quite tough. And when it comes to assisting things being tough, BJP doesn't mince words when it comes to its own people. They may say whatever they like, but when it comes to working on the ground, because BJP believes apart from the person of the Prime Minister, you have to ensure your organization, particularly the booth level, that your workers who are supposed to be in touch with the voters at each of these booths, they have to be active all the time, round the year. That's the big challenge for the BJP.
Yeah. One sec. Let me just get Arshpreet to respond to some of the points. And yeah, Karnataka is key for the Congress. And I think it's a good point you've made, Shekhar, that the focus needs to be first on the state elections this year. That will set the agenda. For the Congress, retaining Rajasthan among the infighting, holding on to Chhattisgarh, winning away Karnataka, these will be key. And of course, the Madhya Pradesh fight is always there. Arshpreet, what is the parallel to this kind of a set of meeting and planning that is going on in your party?
Well, the simple parallel to that is we'll continue doing our work, what we are doing. For us, we do not see people as merely votes like the Bharatiya Janata Party does. And we're not perturbed like they are. Because the Bharatiya Janata Party, let alone doing a yatra of 3,500 kilometers of 150 days, cannot even do it in the first place because Mr. Modi is too busy with campaigning 24/7. And number two, the BJP spokesperson said, our focus is social issues. I think they mean Operation Lotus by that because, the Bharatiya Janata Party's only legacy is Operation Lotus. Goa, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Assam, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Arunachal, Manipur, Meghalaya, Punjab, Telangana. One of the major factors as to why the BJP is able to win these elections is because of their Operation Lotus. Number two, the amount of focus that they show on ads, if 10% of that would have been shown for real issues, we wouldn't have had unprecedented inflation at an all-time high. We wouldn't have had unemployment at an all-time high, poverty at an all-time high. And as far as their statement goes, what does the Congress Party offer? What is it about? The Congress Party is all about welfare. It is all about development. It is all about employment, empowerment, accountability, transparency.
No, but Arshpreet, today you are ruling in two major states. Is there a welfare model that you've been able to demonstrate to voters? And the reason I ask this is, look at the Aam Aadmi Party. All said and done,
Now
after
answer
Delhi,
that.
they have spread to Punjab. Now, it's the questions to you itself. There is, the voter today is looking at what's in it for me.
Yes.
It's become a more, I would say over the years, a more clinical transaction than only an emotional connect with that leader or that particular party or with that particular symbol. The voter today is asking what's in it for me. And we saw that in Delhi and Punjab with the Aam Aadmi Party. The BJP touts it as their growth model that we've demonstrated we've done well. Do you have a similar model to take to the people that look at what we've done in the states where we are ruling, and that is what we will take nationwide? What is that model?
See, first, like I said, it's people first. What is the Congress Party all about? It's, about and for the people who stand at the back, at the last in a queue. We have to make sure that, every policy, every deed is able to touch them. And as far as Rajasthan and other states go, we have made sure development was begotten there. The number of medical institutions, the number of educational institutions, the number of, I'll give an example of Himachal only. We have just formed government there and we have delivered on the OPS in just mere days. And number three, you please see, Aam Aadmi Party cannot even be compared with us. They are not a national party. They are a state ki party, a regional party. They have 0 MPs in the Lok Sabha. They basically have been, disregarded by the people of Punjab in the very first 10 months. So therefore, there is no question of the Aam Aadmi Party coming even into the picture because they are merely.
No, I'm not talking about the Aam Aadmi Party nationally. I'm talking about what is appealing to voters. You're talking about OPS. I think that's very interesting. Charu, Pragya, what is the model that they will take to the people versus the model you take to the people? And that's what is the question at the end of the day. Have you given enough succor to people through pandemic?
So,
have you given enough succor to people through high inflation, through a slowing economy? Yes.
So, Tamanna, because Harpreet mentioned so many things, let me also tell him some positive achievements this country has had. The pandemic has hit us all hard, not just India, the whole world. But the pandemic has taught India to be Atmanirbhar, what we call basically self-sufficient for every important thing that we need. Today, we are the 3rd largest country in the world in number of startups alone. We have 100 unicorns. We are growing by leaps and bounds any which way you see. We're the fastest growing economy. Harpreet uses the word people who stand at the back. Harpreet, let me tell you, this is the ideology of Bharatiya Janata Party. Antyodaya कहते हैं इसको हमारी किताब में. We want to reach the last man standing in society, and that has been the platform on which this party has been formed, the platform on which, the plank from which we've been delivering every single time. And when I say social issues, maybe you forget and maybe you don't realize, social issues basically mean getting water to people, making sure they have food to eat, ration through the pandemic, making sure they have a roof over their heads, making sure they've got clean cooking fuel, making sure that
so everyone is fighting on social issues.
When we talk about diseases, we deliver on the yes,
have you forgotten the Ganga
I'll tell
issue?
you, I don't know about everyone, but I will tell you one thing very confidently. People can yes, I have not forgotten that, and you know how that was blown up completely out of proportion, and there's been enough expose on that. So if you want to go to that, we can go to that. But you can also focus on how India has fought through the pandemic when the best economies in the West have not been able to do so. Don't put down India's achievement. We made 2 vaccines entirely on our own.
Now this is the thing, Charu, Pragya. Very often, whenever we talk about the economy or what the government has done, 1 minute, this is also very interesting because going into 2024, today when we're discussing, and in part I would say academically, what the BJP is planning for 2024. Today you've ended your 2-day national executive meet. The narrative has become that if you question anything the government has done, or you question what's happening with the welfare of people, or with the Indian economy, you are targeting India.
Yes.
It's somehow linking it to nationalistic pride. It's an interesting sort of spin. Which has become mainstream.
No.
It has become mainstream, no doubt.
Can I? No. Tamanna, allow me to respond to this. Allow me to respond to this. Can I please respond to this? Now,
Yes,
when
go
all
ahead.
these issues are attacked without statistics and numbers, and only because you belong to an opposition party, I think that is very unfair.
No, it's not about statistics and numbers, Charu. Pragya, you talked about startups and highest number of startups. Do you know the number of startup layoffs that have taken place in India since the beginning of 2023? So statistics can cut either way. I'm making a bigger point of view, and I want to bring Tehseen in it as an analyst. Tehseen, going into 2024, this whole narrative, this whole story, that if you say anything negative about the government, the form of governance, those who are running the country today and what's happening in this country, you are immediately attacking it and are not a nationalist. This has become par for the course. Do you think this is going to be the push into 2024? If you're a patriot, you have to vote for BJP.
Of course, the BJP will try to do that. It will try to do that because it has nothing to showcase on the ground. Just like you rightly pointed out to Charu, Pragya, that when you talk about the highest number of startups, just in December 2022 onwards until now, per day there are 1,800 layoffs happening per day in startups. We did evaluation. So look, we can go either ways and that will be exposed. The fact is, for the first time, our economy is contracting, our per capita income is decreased on a dollar parity, and we have headwinds in our economy. The fact of the matter is, look, the BJP will try and spin things under nationalism. But I say one thing, if this present government fell in the Yamuna, it would be unfortunate. But if somebody rescued it, it would be a tragedy. It'll be a tragedy because the only thing that the BJP has is to try and whitewash the sins of omission and commission that they're involved in. Unfortunately, while the BJP is a government that should have been defeated in 2019 itself because of demonetization, no government should have survived. Nobody in the opposition knows how to defeat the BJP because at the other end of the spectrum, all you have is vague talks. Now, let's be specific. When I tell Charu, Pragya, 1,600 job losses every day in startup India, and there have been more than 2 lakh jobs lost in the last 1 month, the Congress does not tell you that the lowest unemployment is in the state of Chhattisgarh, which is 2.3% by the Niti Aayog report of the BJP government. That is the problem. The problem is the BJP is at one extreme and the other opposition is at the other extreme. We need to, if you have to dislodge the BJP, can we be precise and surgical in our attacks on where we are going to dislodge the BJP, and can we have principles?
So 1 minute, you're coming back to a lack of alternative. We are speaking today in early 2023.
No.
To the voters, you're saying opposition does not know how to defeat the BJP. Shekhar Iyer, is anything going to change in the next 400 days?
10 seconds.
Okay,
10 seconds.
Tehseen, finish your point.
I will never say there is the Tina factor. I always say there is Sita. Someone is there always. There is no Tina. There is Sita. The fact is, if you want to have Sita, you need to talk about what you're going to give. You need to be precise. And that precision has to be focused, thought about, and in advance to the fence sitters. Because when you're in a circle...
I understand, Tehseen, but frankly, this is a conversation going on since 2015 or 2016. This is a conversation going on since 2016. My question now to Shekhar Iyer is 400 days out. Does anything look like it's going to change in the Indian political firmament?
Well, Tamanna, the challenge for the Congress is, they will have to get a tally of 100 plus. I would say somewhere around 125 to 150 seats. If that does not happen, no matter what narrative they are setting about, what yatra they do, ultimately, in numerical terms, they have to win 100 plus seats. I would say that would come at the cost of the BJP, because in most of the constituencies, it's a direct fight between BJP and Congress. If that were to happen only, you can see the beginning of a non-BJP formation that is within the striking distance of catching power. Otherwise, it's not going to help, because at the moment, if you look at the Congress organization, or you look at the way the yatra is going on, it has to be reflected in the organizational terms. Because ultimately, yes, this yatra has definitely re-energized the party. The many leaders are happy that finally Rahul is doing something, and the organization is perhaps feeling that energy. But much more needs to be done. If only the Congress were to do what the BJP is good at doing, organizing your district committees, organizing your booth level committees. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, fortunately for the BJP and unfortunately for the Congress, all these years, Rahul has been around since 2004. 10 years UPA was in power. Then after that,
Right.
these 8 years have gone by. Not much attention has been paid to the organization. Because even after Mallikarjun Kharge has taken over as Congress president, we haven't heard much of in terms of an organization, even at the central level. So a lot
Okay.
has to be done. Well, if it is possible, I will say in politics, it is possible. But that would need a great change. That would need a great change in the way the Congress leadership functions and the way they are
Right.
going to work at the ground level.
Well, 400 days, they say a week is a long time in politics. 400 days is definitely a long time. But some interesting insights from the BJP meet. Like Shekhar Iyer said, we know today what was told to us. We still have to, glean details of what actually happened within that convention center and what the whole plan is. But on that note, thank you to all of you for joining us on the lead story this evening. But a little more politics before we take a short break. There will be no